Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading is all about your personal magic in your day-to-day life, and there's a very particular inspiration for all of this. And the beginning of that inspiration, the beginning of that journey, so to speak, was me purchasing a new tarot deck that I found on Etsy. The details are in the description box below if you're interested, called the Highly Sensitive Tarot. And you see three of the very beautiful cards from this deck as part of the choice for the pile choice. And the thing about this deck, it's probably one of the most beautiful decks I have. I have many beautiful decks, but this one is like really stunning. And what I really felt when I looked at it was you can see that there's a lot of kind of realism in the artwork, but there's also something, a heightened color, a heightened energy, and in some are sort of like, feels like kind of supernatural or the mystical also incorporated, but in such a way that it feels like it's totally normal, like we're kind of in the world that we know when we look at these cards, and sometimes very much within the world that we know, maybe more than we typically see with tarot, which you'll see if the Emperor card comes up at any point, for instance. But equally, there's something very magical. And what it made me think of is there is a term in literature and art called magical realism. And what it effectively means is that there are supernatural, fantastical elements woven into the story or the art in such a way that the world is very, very familiar, but it makes the magical and the fantastical familiar too, like it's completely normal. So, you could be having a TV series, for instance, and everything looks very normal, day-to-day, modern world, and, but there are a whole bunch of the Fae wandering around in it, and that is seen as completely normal within this world. So it's that kind of concept. So I think what's lovely about that concept and what's lovely about this deck is this idea that within the day-to-day, within what we are, within what we do each day, there is magic, and we are magic. And we tend to maybe think about it, in terms of ritual or a spiritual practice, but this is how it's embedded and how it's almost seamless and almost undetectable, but it's there in our daily life. So that's what this is all about. We're going to be looking at what your magic is in the day-to-day world and how that manifests. So we're going to start with a kind of a map of what that magic might be, and then we'll sort of have a look at how it's playing out in your everyday life. So to help with the choice, what I did do was I shuffled and I said to Spirit that the first three major arcana cards that came out, I would use one for each pile. So pile number 1 has the Wheel of Fortune, pile number 2 has the Empress, and pile number 3 has Judgment. This will be part of that map of your magic. So if you feel particularly drawn to one of these, that's probably a good sign that's where your kind of magical imprint is. If you feel drawn to more than one, by all means go to more than one. It might be an amalgamation of a couple of the readings. So you do you as always. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I've got the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Wheel of Fortune, and looking at this card, one of the things that I'm really struck with is the great joy that you see in the face of the person. In terms of thinking about magic, my initial feeling about the Wheel of Fortune full stop is about being able to see the timing of things, being very good, being someone who sort of sees when things are going to be successful, when it's a good time to do something, when luck is likely to appear to be on your side, but it's really more that you really have kind of understood and synchronized energy. And I do think that you're very, very good at that. And that is shown here with your magic about abundance, bringing things in. So some people might think you're just very, very lucky, but you're not. This is part of your magic. You understand the cycles of time. You know when to do. Your timing is spot on. But even if people do think you're lucky, I think part of your magic, for the most part, unless you're dealing with someone who is just a very jealous sort of person, the average person, is kind of overtaken by your joy and your sense of positivity. And they just believe you because you seem to know what you're talking about. You seem to be joyous. You seem to bring things in. You're grateful for what you have. You're very inclusive. You are very open to everybody. And that's the real key to it. I mean, you do have an extraordinarily good sense of timing, and I think it's psychic. It is actually kind of supernatural. You would be the sort of person who would know when something was going to be successful, all that kind of thing. But it's more than that. So you are really able to bring things into abundance because you know how to align your passions, your joy, your interests, all of that kind of thing with the right sort of timing and the right sort of people. You're very inclusive, as I say, with rainbow energy here. That gives a sense that you do not sort of shut out any possibilities or any people. As a result, you're always going to get a better result than most people. I mean, one of the things that really strikes me when there's all these sort of political debates about diversity and all that kind of thing is that at the end of the day, diverse backgrounds, skills, interests, experiences are always going to bring a richer tapestry to anything. Like it's just a logical thing. And whether you're looking for the best team to do something within an organisation, or the best team to collaborate with, or just the best party to have, like having that sort of sense of that, as long as people are open to that, they're not shut to difference, but where in this sense of your magic and your joy, I think you bring people together, the right people together at the right time for fantastic results. You would be an extremely good, collaborator, networker, coach and guide, particularly of groups, all of those sort of things, because you do see that. You have brilliance, but you allow other people's brilliance to shine as well. And I find it really interesting. You've got these two, they're both holding something at pretty much exactly the same point. And I feel like here, this is your higher self, because this is the 5D self in a way. The rainbow energy, the colours of the universe live within you, radiate their brilliance. It's sort of like, it's all within you. That's why you can include others. And that's also why you have the sense of timing. You know the order that the colours need to come in, how they will best blend. You could be an incredibly good artist as well. But it's like you hold in your kind of 5D self, the concept, the idea, the beautiful thing, and then you can literally manifest it here as fruit in the material world. So you are actually very good at manifestation. And, people who come to this channel know I have a particular view about manifestation. I don't think it's just sort of sitting and contemplating the universe and expecting a vision board to work. There is a lot of factors that go into it, and we have to have our own effort, and we need to connect with others and all that sort of stuff. You do this with joy. You do it naturally. You do it magically. And that is why, it's like you've got the secret recipe. But the other thing that's interesting about you, and this goes back to the joy energy, is that you have the Yule singer here, because I was looking at Fae energy to get a sense about like kind of your Fae side, that kind of magical side of you. And the Yule singer is all about rebirth, about transformation. It's about finding joy and finding the new pathway and the new song to sing. This is why it's a singer when things have been difficult. So, when, the wintry sort of sense, when you think about the Wheel of Fortune, it will go up, it will also go down. Your joy, your understanding of timing, your understanding of people, and I think your generosity of spirit, all combine to mean that when the wheel is on its way down, you're able to keep people inspired, you're able to keep yourself inspired, but keep others inspired as well. You're able to sing the new song of joy. So there's like, overall, your magic is joy. Like your magic is the incredibly abundant manifestation energy of joy and of understanding the timing. Like it's a really infectious, lovely energy, just like the face of this person here. And it is truly magical. It has magical effects, not only just on yourself, but on others. You bring that sense of joy and abundance. You would be amazing at helping people deal with sort of, kind of the difficult stages of their life, potentially even if you decided to go and study it, things like trauma and so forth, because you have this it is magical. It's a magical sense that in the end of the day, the wheel will turn, things will get better. We learn from the down cycles, we build in the up cycles, and we work really well together. So it's a lovely, lovely energy. So let's get a little bit more with the tarot. So we're going to ask just a little bit more in general about your personal magic. Then we're going to look at how it's impacting your day-to-day life. And then how does the day-to-day life you're experiencing and others around you impact your magic? So we're going to look at the impact on a couple of levels. So firstly, this magic, you have a little bit more of an idea about it or its origin or anything Spirit wants to talk about in terms of you manifesting this. Four of Pentacles reversed, Queen of Pentacles reversed, Five of Wands reversed, Four of Swords reversed. Don't worry about reversals. It's not bad. It's just often unconscious energy, or it's energy that's a little bit hidden. The Moon. Oh yeah, this is very magical actually. This is what this is saying. People experience the joy of you. They love to be around you. If they're feeling down, like you probably are the sort of person that when people are feeling down, if you're your friends, you're the first person that somebody would ring. You're kind of like that shot of adrenaline and happiness and reinvigoration of hope and all that kind of thing. So that is kind of like what people experience, but there's a lot going under the surface that they're probably not aware of. You are very psychically attuned. So this is going back to my original thought when I saw the Wheel of Fortune come out. I think you really psychically know the energies that's going on in the universe. You're very connected, and to all its variables. I think that's what that rainbow color also means. Because when we're trying to work out when things are likely to be successful or not, there are certain things that are very cyclical and clear, like harvest time, like what you do with farming or whatever. There's obviously, in that sort of scenario, like weather that we can't predict or whatever, but there's a certain time frame. But there are other things that have so many various variables around it and so many, impacts from other people. Because you're kind of connected into all of that, you see it. You see it like a prophet. You see it like a seer. But it comes across just as like you kind of know just when to inspire and just when to kind of repair and help people rest and get ready. And it's really, really psychic. Really, really psychic. And I actually think for you get replenished at night. Like when you're sleeping, your energy is very outward focused during the day. I don't know whether you're literally an extrovert, but you're actually probably close to the middle of extrovert and introvert, because I feel like you give out a lot of energy and a lot of joy, but at night this is when you're on your own, or you're with your partner but you're sleeping, so you're kind of in that space on your own. That's when you get replenished. That's when that energy is kind of like re-downloaded into you. So this is partly why these are all reversed, because I think that your magic is there. The magical side of it is there, but it's not so clear that it's magic, but it is magic. And so, as I said in the introduction, in magical realism, you can have sort of something like, a TV series where there's ordinary people and that's all fine, and then there's the Fae, for instance. That's very obviously magic, and they're very obviously magical. But there are other sort of things where there's a particular magic of creation. And you think about the film Chocolat is a bit like that. So that sort of the Johnny Depp film. Chocolate. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, where there's sort of like more the magic of the people. You're kind of in that category, like how much the magic is actually magic. People don't necessarily see it as that. But what they do see is that you can bring people out of this sort of sense of competition and conflict whenever there is change going on in the material world. So that the key thing here is your understanding of the Wheel of Fortune. Your magic is there all the time, and you really can create. And that's kind of the thing that keeps people coming back, because it's not just that you can kind of sing them out of the depression when things are falling apart and there's conflict, and sing them into joy. And some of you may literally do this through being creative, through singing and music, actually. But in whatever way you do it, it's not just that you do that, but it is actually that after that, they see that their faith in you is justified, because then the wheel is at its ascendancy and things are working out. But it's like later on they may not have even understood the magic of what you're doing. They just take it as being who you are. So let's ask how, therefore, your magic is impacting your day-to-day life. So I think you're impacting other people's day-to-day life a lot. But how does this magic impact you? Ace of Pentacles. The Magician reversed, Justice reversed, Eight of Cups reversed. Okay. There's probably a few things. This will depend upon who's coming here. I'm almost going to go to the most heavy first, and then we'll move back. The most heavy reading I could have of this is that for some of you, like in another age, your ability to do this might have had you persecuted. To be frank, it's like a visionary like Joan of Arc or something like that, like is this heretical or something like that. Or it could be that you have had this magic come up in you and the joy come up in you because you had to, because you went through a lot of injustice, and there's sort of like some cause that you have that you can't let go of until you do that, you're not going to fully manifest this for yourself. So For some of you, this magic is coming up out of your own. You had to sing yourself out of some sort of dire, unfair situation where maybe you were lied to or something was done that was just not just. And you haven't fully let that go. And you can't, because you know that it's the thing that, in a way, the down slope of the Wheel of Fortune in this case is the thing that becomes the engine room for the new growth, for what you want to do yourself. But I think that there's also a side of it that if that's the case, you have a very strongly tuned antenna for where other people have been unjustly treated. And I think I'm going back to the rainbow thing then. So I think I got the diversity thing so strongly. There's a side of you where you are compelled to use this magic to right wrongs and to help other people and to get a healthier way of being and a healthy way of growing. So that's the sort of like the heavy side of this. Beyond that, one of the things that you can do, and one of the ways that this magic really impacts your day-to-day life, is that you see through the propaganda and the marketing. So what I mean by that, and where emotional sort of triggers are being done, is that if you were doing some sort of a project, you're trying to work out something that you wanted to do in the world, there could be a lot of competing interests and competing arguments for your time or your attention or your money or whatever it is. You see through all of that to what is really going to grow. So you have a really good antenna for where people are just kind of BSing you, basically. So you're very, very good at picking that sort of thing up, and then so that magic really helps you there. What does the day-to-day, however, and other people do to impact your magic? So that's your magic. How does the experience of day-to-day and dealing with others, how does that impact your magic? Because there's always a reciprocal energy that operates when we're in this world, because we're in this world. The Hierophant reversed. The Queen of Cups reversed. The World reversed. The Eight of Swords reversed. Okay. I do think that if people cotton on to the fact that there's magic, they don't understand it. I think that a lot of the time it has a fairly minimal impact on you with all the reverse, because people don't realise it's magic. They just enjoy being around you. They find you inspiring, all of that kind of thing. If people did, though, I do think there's a bit of a risk for you. If people did, as I say, well, at least we're not back in the time of the Spanish Inquisition where you'd be burned at the stake for having this ability. We're at least not in that world, but there could be sort of times where people want to exploit it or something like that, or want to cut you off at the pass if you're getting in the way of their propaganda. But I think for the most part, people don't see it. So that's kind of helpful in a way. So therefore it's not being impacted as much by that. Having said that, I think for you, a lot of this, the world is part of what you contemplate and you process for yourself within the dream state. I think that's why I think part of it is your spirit team taking you where you need to go to see things prophetically. But I also think this is where the day-to-day world you deal with on a very subconscious level. And I think it's how you sort out how your difference can be best used. Because like the Hierophant reversed here is being different spiritual abilities, different everything. And I find it really interesting the way this card depicts it with all these musical instruments. There's something about music, melody, maybe sacred mathematics, the celestial spheres music, something like that for you. But the day-to-day, you protect what is different. You protect your emotional core. So you're not showing that to the world too much, because if you showed everything that you felt, people would sort of start to see a bit too much. It allows you, the day-to-day world reminds you that there's still a lot of work to be done. Things are not finished yet, and you have a purpose here. And part of that is about freedom, and that you have to keep yourself free. So it's a very interesting energy. You're very joyful. You're very good at manifestation. You do understand the past and the present and the future. You understand that very, very well. You're getting a lot of downloads in your sleep in particular, or if you meditate or things like that. And there is a purpose here. There is a magic which could be threatened if people were aware of it. So you keep it as something that people just enjoy, and you kind of got this sort of infectious enthusiasm that people are gravitating to. But you've got a bigger purpose. There is a bigger purpose here on one level or another for you. And it is about justice, and it's about fairness, and it's about inclusion. So very interesting. So let's get you some spirit team for your magic. So I want to start off with animals, and I wanted to use the Luminous Creatures deck, which is, to me, of the decks that I have of animals, this is the one that is kind of the closest to like magical realism. It's incredibly cute. I will have to pause once I put the cards down just to check what the animals are, because I'm not all that good at knowing sometimes. But then hopefully that'll be fairly seamless, and then I'll talk to you about what we have. So firstly, this card. And I'm not even going to say, even though I could probably guess, because sometimes I've guessed and I've been wrong. And I think that's a mouse, but we'll see. Okay, so we've got zebra and mouse. And it's really picking up, as I say, this subtext. I think this is why a lot of the cards are reversed, because I feel like you're very aware of how your magic could be exploited if it was too seen. So as I say, you kind of present it more as joyful sort of enthusiasm or whatever. Because I think many of you are in situations where there's some sort of cause or whatever you're dealing with, and it's a complex situation and it's not a very honest one. And it's full of propaganda or lies or whatever, because this is coming up with these two being around you. Zebra is helping you, because the way that the zebra's stripes are, is helping you have camouflage. It's helping you, what is really unique and different about you, to be a little bit hidden so that you are safer within your environment. So there definitely is a thing like that. It's like if people knew your ability too well, they could try and exploit it, they could try and stand in your way, all of those sort of things. And with mouse, you are definitely dealing with, in one form or another, powers that are theoretically bigger than you in the world, or that could be threatening to you in the world, or people who are being dishonest with themselves, dishonest with you. So these animals are here with you to help you navigate and understand that and know when you need to camouflage. Because there would be people who would look at this and they would go, this is wonderful energy, I want to see more of it. I'm sure if I met you, I'd go, fantastic, more power to you. But there will be other people that are threatened by it. So I think your animal team here are to help you know that and discern that. Because there's so much going on with you and you're so open that the one risk of all of this is you could be open with the wrong people. So it's helping with that. I think they're helping navigate that. Let's also get you a couple of angels or celestial beings as well. Archangel Azrael, death and rebirth. That fits a bit with the Yuletide singer. You are about, and this showed this as well too, you particularly come into your magic when almost the wheel is going down, when the cycle of change and sort of things finishing, ready for the new growth. That's also why we had the Ace of Pentacles there, that you are really about the new growth and the abundance, but you're also part of like helping people deal with the change. So I think that Azrael is here to help you with that as well. And Archangel Jophiel, joy, radiance, inspiration. Yeah, that's you. That's you. And that energy is there, I think, to replenish your batteries because a lot of people would draw from that. And a lot of people will draw from it completely innocently, but nevertheless, you do need to replenish your batteries with the moon, as I said. That's really important for you. Okay, so now we just want to get some astrological energy as well that is part of your magic. So we're just going to get a couple of planetary pairings just to sort of see what else it tells us about your magic within your day-to-day life. So firstly, Mars and Chiron. Yeah, this is the Yuletide singer. This is Azrael. It's interesting that it came out first and fell there. This is you being able to re-energize and activate and give new ambition and new focus and so forth to those in a period of time where they need healing, where changes occurred, where things haven't worked out. So you have a very, very healing energy, but your healing energy is not your typical healing energy. I mean, the typical healing energy we think about is like meditation and Zen and resting. You're kind of the life of the party, whether you literally are that or not, but in terms of like healing people and helping people, you're the one who goes, we can do it. Yes, we can, all of that kind of thing. That kind of energy is who you are. So that's part of your magic. And you're very action oriented. It's like, in fact, you're like the person who says, and I get this because I put my back out and everything quite like, yeah, you can rest at first and do the ice packs, but as soon as you can, you've got to do a bit of exercise because it'll heal a lot quicker. That's kind of the energy of you. Part of your magic is inspiring people to do that. and Mars again and Neptune, yeah, and bringing that energy out from the liminal space. You're very connected to the liminal space, particularly, as I say, when you allow yourself to rejuvenate. That's how you get your energy, and you can actually then show other people how to do that so they can heal. Situations can heal, but it's all about moving forward. It's all about action. It's all about achievement. That's the key part of your magic, pile one. So let's also go to another magical place to just get a couple of other pieces of advice for you. So let's go to the Enchanted Forest. See what we get there. Connecting in with magical creatures around your day-to-day magic. So firstly, you decide. When you give of yourself freely, you expand your energy. If you only give to get, it will feel like a burden or drain. Be genuine, give from your heart. And I think you do, but I do think the other animals there are making sure you give to the right people. Because the other way it can feel like a burden is if you're being forced to give in a situation where it's not reciprocal and where it's not, the people aren't worthy on some level. And Spirit of life. Remember, you are never alone. The spirit of life is with you. The world takes care of you. Allow yourself to rest in the realization and feel the lightness in you. I do think there's a lot here about you need to rest as well. That's where you get replenished. That's where you connect in with the very deep magic that you have and those that guide and protect you, pile one. Okay, so just to finish off, I just thought what I'd do is I'd use the Mythical Creatures deck, and I just ask for a mythical creature that maybe best exemplifies your magic. So this is probably the most mythical level of it, but just to see, you know, what creature does do that for you, or is a best representative of you. Oh wow! See, I knew I was going to like you guys. It's a serpent. So it's about wisdom, and it's about, see, the serpent, the Ouroboros, you know, the snake swallowing its own tail, the sense of like karma, the sense of life, death, you know, rejuvenation, the right timing for things, creation. This is about creation, about creating the new after, you know, as I say, the harvest, you know, and then it's winter, and then we come back to creating. So the serpent is a very strong motif for you, and the wisdom of the serpent. There's a lot of wisdom, and there's a need for wisdom in this reading, because there are some people that would be the more negative aspect of a serpent around you, and so you need to be the positive, be wise as serpents type of one. It says, keep putting out good. It will come back to you tenfold in unexpected ways. And I think that's right. Keep this energy. You're magical. You're magical because of your joy, but also because of your clear understanding of the cycles of life and how to best align with those. So I hope that resonates for you, pile one. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile two, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Empress. And so, you know, I would typically associate the Empress with abundance, with manifestation, with creativity, with the divine feminine. The way that she's beautifully portrayed here, she's very pregnant, so the sort of sense of the new life, the new growth, the precious thing that needs to be protected. Very much protected by the light of the moon in this particular deck. So I think the sort of spiritual energy and a sense of things coming, because I associate the moon with the Archangel Gabriel and with prophecy. And that's really interesting. There's a particular reason I'm focusing on that, because I'm aware of the other cards here and what I think they're saying. This is big, okay? So I actually thought, you know, this was going to be kind of fun, this reading. And it was going to be sort of like our magic and magical realism and what makes life magic. And this is true, but for you it's big, I've got to say. This is about, it's got kind of chosen one vibes to it. It's like, and I'm very wary of using terms like that, but what I mean, like, it's either the chosen one or protecting the chosen one or something like that for something very important, something very precious that comes out of chaos, that comes out at the endings of things, that draws the new and better energy and that protects the new growth, the new world, whatever it is, but that is fierce in its protection and fierce in its capacity to deal with the chaos and the cleansing, the karmic energy or whatever to bring in the new. Because we've got Ragnarok here. Ragnarok is theoretically the end of the world. Now, I'm not saying we are facing the end of the world and you are somehow pivotal in the story of the end of the world. This is metaphoric. But in the concept of like magical realism, this is the force that is around chaos, which is around things that have to end to allow new growth to come in. And we have karma cleanse over here with your higher self. So liberating yourself from karmic patterns, living a life of creative choice. There's something here, either your magic has been hard won by you dealing with significant sort of downturns, tower moments or whatever, and you've cleared a lot of that out and now you're ready to draw in what is good, or you're drawing in this energy because part of you creating something new or supporting and protecting something new that has to be created, you have to draw in both the positive protective energies and the chaotic cleansing energies. So it's pretty big. So I sort of feel like I'm almost saying sorry, but then on another level, this is very powerful, and I'm sure that you have the magic to withstand this in a way that other people don't. So let's get a little bit more information. So we're going to have a look firstly with tarot about your brand of magic. We're going to then look at how it's impacting your day-to-day life, and then how your day-to-day life and other people are impacting your magic. And there'll be a lot, I think, for you around this, because this is big. This is very external, and it's chaos into the attraction of the new. So it's ultimately very positive, but yeah, you're strong. Part of your magic is being very strong. So, okay, you can go into the abyss, you can look into the abyss, you can do that kind of thing, pile 2. So let's see a little bit more about your personal magic. 4 of Cups reversed, 8 of Wands reversed, 3 of Swords reversed, 7 of Cups, Knight of Cups. Okay, for some of you, this will have something to do with a love relationship. It could be a very karmic love relationship that went through some really extraordinarily testing sort of times in other lives or something like that. Or it could be that the two of you together somehow create the gestalt to deal with and manage what needs to be done. So for some, there's a romantic side of this. And that's also probably the law of attraction. You're drawing in someone that you two being together, and possibly even having a child, if that's something you want. You don't have to, but like that kind of energy is somehow going to draw in the new and the possibilities after the deluge, so to speak. But there's a lot of karma between you and this person, and the way that you clean out and cleanse that energy and focus on protecting what you're creating together in whatever form it is important. A bit like one of the other readings, quite a bit of the magic is a little bit hidden, I think, with the 3 of the 5 cards there being reversed. There is a clearing of pain. There is a understanding the emotional blocks to freedom and to moving forward. The 8 of Wands here, I think that's probably meant to be something. I mean, it could be around some sort of pregnancy test, but I think it's probably more likely to be something like a test for the pandemic, and that you can't go out when the test is positive. So I feel like this is an indication, the way it's being portrayed, of things that stop you from getting out and doing what you want, or the wish to get out and do what you want and be free. So I feel like here there's a sort of a sense of there's emotional blocks that are stopping the movement towards a more positive outcome, because healing has to occur, but it has to be faced. It's like there's an inevitability about it with Ragnarok, and your magic is understanding that and being able to see the potential in it, and also the love in it. So even if it isn't about a romance thing, ultimately you are looking for the highest good out of this, and you're trying to attract in the highest good. And it's almost like there's, like in the choice here, the person is choosing between 2 of the sort of ice creamy delights or whatever it is. And there's a sort of a sense of one needs to go for another to come through. So I think, again, there's just a sense of something leaving or something ending so that something else can begin. Some of you, it may be around the magic will happen if you leave a relationship that was not at your level or not really inspiring your magic, and finding one that does. But as I say, it doesn't have to be about love. It could just be that the love that you have for what you're trying to protect and what you're trying to cleanse and clear and attract the right sort of energies in for, is part of what this is. But it's big. It's a big thing. And there's a lot of a lot of kind of pain and a need for a liberation from emotional blocks and other things necessary for it. And whether that's particularly for you or whether it is for others, I think it kind of works on both levels for you actually. I think you would have to go through this sort of rite of passage to then be able to help others. But I think there's a bit of both. So let's see how this magic that you have, which is being able to do this, which is a formidable magic, but it's not necessarily the easiest magic to have. How is that affecting your day-to-day life at the moment? Judgment, Seven of Pentacles reversed, the World, oh wow, Five of Wands, okay. So firstly, one thing I'd just say, and you don't have to do this, but if you were at all drawn to pile 3 as well, I would go to it since the Judgment card came up, but you don't have to. It's not saying everybody has to. It's only if you were sort of like tossing up between the two. Beyond that, you know your calling. And there's something here, like it's interesting, the end of the world endings. There's something that ends to let something new come in. Like, so Ragnarok is sort of like an end of the world, but then there's a new world that comes out of it. There's a new world that's born, so to speak. So for you, this is your calling. You can't kind of walk away from it. And you are about the completion, but also walking through into the new. And you know what I'm getting here? Like there's the sun rising and there's the moon. It's almost like for some of you, what's happening is there was a connection very strongly to the divine feminine, to the moon and that energy. That is ending so that the sun, the life path and the calling comes through. There's a call to action here. It's like you may have been spending a lot of time almost incubating or gestating your power, your magic. But some sort of, your heart is calling you to something else because you know that there is a sun that you're heading towards. It needs to be brought out into the world. And it is a calling. There's something here that no longer is going to work out. It's no longer going to return on the investment you're putting into it. It's just chaos for chaos's sake. The good thing, though, with the Five of Wands is it for you, the battle of Ragnarok is like, oh, yeah, that's easy. I'll do that on Tuesday and Wednesday I'll be fine sort of thing. You're very strong, so that's good. But you do have to realise it's necessary. So for you to really trigger your magic, you have to be able to attune yourself to where the sun is rising after the night. Like what needs to recede into the night and be healed in the night so that you can attract the sun. So it's on a day-to-day level. It's really, it's impacting you by calling you towards what you need to do. So then how does the day-to-day itself impact and other people impact the magic? So how is the sort of reciprocal energy operating? If your magic impacts your day-to-day by letting you know you have a mission, how does the day-to-day itself and other people impact your magic? Ten of Pentacles reversed, Ace of Swords, the Star reversed, Three of Cups. Okay. So there's a few things here. Firstly, the day-to-day, there's some change going on in the day-to-day. There's some system, there's some relationship, there's something, family stuff, whatever it is, that is needing to end. And it doesn't necessarily mean like if it's a family that you can never speak to them again, but the structure of whatever it had on you, the impact it had on you, to hold on to that is only going to hold you back. So like there is something that's changing in the day-to-day, and it's triggering you understanding with the Judgment there what your calling is. There's a new idea that it's also forcing. So again, where you see something is no longer working. This could be a call to leave a job and go and start a business yourself it could be anything, but it needs to be something that's of your heart. But something is ending. The day-to-day is forcing that. It's not really, like we can't stop Ragnarok, do you know what I mean? Like we just have to kind of make our way through it and attract in the new. The other thing is that there's something about this, and it might be why the first 3 cards were reversed, that you have to connect with others for this. So even though I feel like there is a kind of chosen one energy to this, it can't be the main focus. It can't be all about you. So it's almost like if you were the chosen one in this, you're a bit cloaked and you connect with other people so that other people celebrate it. It's a joint effort. So ultimately, Spirit sees how cool you are. But there's something here where if you tried to be the star and lead out on this, then you may actually find you'll get a lot more resistance. Whereas if you collaborate and you bring in other people, it's much more likely to be successful. But you will be the leader, but it's kind of like you have to have that little bit under the radar with probably because of the level of power of your magic. So let's get you some guides. We'll start with a couple of animal guides, and I wanted to use the Luminous Creatures deck because of all the decks I have with animals in it, it's probably the one that looks the most magical realism, like it looks magical. I'm going to pause as soon as I put them down because I don't always recognise what the animals are, and I'll just double check my assumptions about that, and hopefully that'll be seamless for you, and then we'll talk about what they're bringing to the table for you. So number 1, and number 2. So this is the cheetah and this is the eagle. It was kind of what I thought they were, but I just wanted to check. So this is interesting. This actually adds another layer to it. When we're looking here with your magic in a bit more about it, there was this sort of sense of freedom and blocks and so forth. Cheetah brings you quick thinking to be able to work through this. It's sort of like when there's a lot of emotion and all those sort of issues, it can sometimes be hard to have the clear, quick thinking that actually moves things forward. Eagle gives you the perspective and the freedom, but it also talks about duality. So it's a duality of the spiritual and the material in particular that this card talks about. So I think this is getting that higher perspective of the material outcomes of something, particularly when things are changing materially, and the spiritual direction, which, with judgment, with the world. So this is about balancing, part of your magic is about balancing the material and the spiritual at a time of great change, and where something precious is needed. And part of your magic is also being able to think very quickly and very adeptly to bring in the new and so forth. So, and to deal with others, because you're going to have to deal with others. You can't go off and do this just on your own. No matter how strong your vision is, no matter how strong you are, you'll be blocked, I think, if you just try to do it on your own. So this is to give you the perspective and the balance and so forth to do that. What you're doing has a lot of complexity. Let's get you some celestial guidance as well. Oh, Merlin, cool. Alchemy, manifestation, balance, duality. There's a lot of power. You have a lot of power. You're very, very magical. But it's like, you're being positioned into something to use that for something that's quite big and almost outside of yourself or beyond just you. You may guide others too. Merlin guided Arthur. So I'm saying you could be the chosen one, or you could be the one who's here to protect the chosen one. It could be either in whatever this situation is. And Goddess Kuan Yin, compassion, kindness, divine mercy. This is like being kind, being of the heart. So I'm saying the heart will be the thing that guides you. You need quick thinking. You need to understand all the different spiritual and material perspectives. But in the end, your heart, your compassion is what will guide you through this, is what makes you special and magical for whatever this is. You're the right person for that. It's almost in a weird way. It's like Merlin and Arthur. Like I know it's a female goddess here, but Arthur represented in the mythology, the compassionate, the fair, the creator of the round table, that kind of energy. And then there's also here the sort of sense of the guide for that kind of energy. So yeah, very interesting. I think many of you will do some very interesting things in the world, and others it will be very personal, but it's still going to have this sort of nature, this sort of power to it. So let's see with the Astro Oracle, just a little bit more information about your magic, just in a couple of pairings of planets. Wow, Neptune and Neptune. You're very psychic. This is also like the moon, Neptune, those kind of energies. Very, very psychic. Very, very psychic. This will help you. It's going to be necessary because you're dealing with a lot of action and a lot of change energy and disruption and chaos. But Neptune is, if you think of chaos on one level astrologically, it could be a bit like Pluto and Uranus together, for instance. Neptune is also chaos in a different way. It's the womb of potentiality, which is really what this is. It's the numinous. For some of you, this magic, though it is manifesting in the day-to-day world and you dealing with change and helping people deal with change and protecting what's important, there's a lot of this happening in a sort of 5D or some other sort of like timeline or interdimensional level as well. It's kind of happening in both, I think, at the same time. And, oh, wow, Mercury. Wow, look at this. Neptune, really, really psychic, which is probably being able to do the eagle thing, get to the different dimensions, see the different ideas, the psychic kind of prophet sort of energy. And then Mercury, the cheetah energy, the quick thinking, the being able to communicate in the way that you need to. You can take what's in the numinous and you can articulate it in a way that most people can't. And again, this is why you can do this. You would have a commanding presence when you speak. So if you were in chaos, if you walked into, everybody fighting and arguing, you would be able to still that and bring things back to a kind of a discussion on what the ideal is rather than all the dispute and so forth. Really powerful. Okay, let's get you some other fantastical, magical advice from the Enchanted Forest. Behold beauty. When you insist that the world is hostile and others are your enemies, don't be surprised that it's so. Self-fulfilling prophecies fortunately work both ways. Fortunately work both ways. This is you being able to bring things back to balance. But you are going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. So this is why it's important to come from your heart and compassion, because you do have the power. And if you started to sort of tilt towards Ragnarok and everything's falling apart and like it's about time Armageddon happened, that sort of thing, then your power could help bring that in. Whereas if you tilt towards this is all about bringing in the new, clearing the karma, being compassionate, being to the heart, you can also bring that in. And this is being able to see the beauty in everything, including the chaos. And exactly as you are, the one who is always dissatisfied with the present moment will never have a better future. Give yourself permission to feel content right here, right now. So again, this is like, because of the amount of power that you have and because you are probably often attracted to and drawn to conflict situations, sometimes it just might feel like every day that, the same BS, but in actual fact, you can actually draw with the attraction what you want. This is to focus a bit more on the potentiality that you're moving towards and less on the chaos that needs to go through to get there. And in dragon energy, very, very powerful again, very celestial power energy around you. Okay. So just to finish off, we're going to get a mythical creature. And it's just meant to be a good representation on the most mythical level of your magic, your magic within the day-to-day. Harpy, okay. Change. To change your life, you have to change yourself. To change yourself, you have to change your mindset. I think you are doing this for others, but it is saying that you get there through your own journey, then helps others. Harpy has to sound the alarm, okay? Sees what is coming and has to speak it. Some people will find that too harsh. Some people, but it is something that you kind of have to be able to stand in something and weather the storm and keep your voice strong and get people focused, because that's one of the hardest things to do when there's chaos going on. So you have to kind of harp on a bit. It's part of what you need to do. But if you come from your heart and compassion and your natural kind of law of attraction and the kind of beauty energy that you bring to it, and I think also to the way that you express it, you'll be able to have the energy of a harpy, of like getting the message across, but create the change in a way that people will follow you. So it's powerful and it's full on for you, pile 2. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. I hope that it resonates for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Judgment. And to me, that is always the card of the call, the karmic thing, the thing that you're meant to do, all of that kind of thing, kind of your north node in your astrology chart. And this particular representation of it is like, it looks to me like a calling to be amongst others, because this looks like it's a group in a forest where radiant light is coming. It's like a radiant healing light and a joy. So I think that there's something about your magic that draws the right people to you, and that helps other people find their calling as well, and also see where there's a group calling that you have, because the real energy around your magic is fundamentally healing. You're an extremely healing energy. It's sort of also shown with the Fae energy here, which is about vitality, health, energy. You radiate that, or when you need to look after your health, you do it, and you become a very strong example to others. So I feel like you're almost in this forest. There's one I don't know if it's really easy to see, but there seems to be one who's really standing up there, and then there's another that's pointing towards something. So I think there are some key figures in this, and you're one of the key figures. You are like a shaman or a healer or a Reiki practitioner, or it could be conventional medicine, but whatever it is, or it could be healing around the mind. You could be a therapist, you could be a coach, a mentor, because here we have the mind shift, struggle chances to the tune of the mind, ease flows with the tune of the heart. So you're getting people in touch with their heart, with their calling, who they are. You have the magic, I think, of helping to reconnect people to what their calling is, who they are. And as is usually the case with magic that we have, it's probably come through your own journey to find that in yourself. And because this card does talk about when one is not feeling healthy, finding the routines that will work. So I think there's something in your magic, the routines that you do in your day-to-day, the way that you approach life and your healing and health, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that is very inspiring to others and that calls other people towards it. So in a sense, they heal them. It's not so much that you sit and you lay hands on them and heal them, though some of you may do that, but I think on a bigger level, your example, the magic that you have around what is healthy in all those areas, heals others by your presence and therefore by your example, and then they heal themselves. I feel that's kind of the energy we're seeing here. So let's have a look a little bit more with tarot about your brand of magic. And we're going to look at how it's impacting you day to day, that you have that magic, and then also how the day to day and others are impacting your magic. So, but firstly, let's see a little bit more about this magic that you have. Seven of Wands reversed, Nine of Wands, the Moon reversed, the Four of Cups, the Ace of Swords. Okay, yes, very much connecting to this mind shift. I think many of you, as I say, if you're not literally therapists or something like that, you are kind of like really effective armchair therapists. Like you're the friend that everybody would go to talk about their problems or something. There's something like that kind of energy, or to kind of get clarity more than talking about their problems, actually. Clarity and a sense of a repurposing and a reinvigoration of their courage, because this is part of it here. Part of your magic for yourself and for others is when you are feeling or they are feeling not courageous enough to take the next step on their calling, or that they feel like, do I have enough energy to do it? You're about drawing out from within, what are the emotional blocks and how are they playing out mentally? What programming are we drawing on? What are we saying to each other? So if you were talking to someone, or say you were talking to yourself about this, say you had your calling, you were doing something, but you're hitting some competition and some roadblocks and you're thinking like, I'm just tired. Then you go within to your own core and your own inner knowing and you say, what am I not seeing? Where does my mind need to shift and open to clear that block so that I will have the energy? It's like what almost mind virus is sitting on my soul and sucking out the energy. And if I can clear that and get rid of that, then that energy then is available for me and I can move forward. It's like you can do that magically for yourself. And I think you can show other people how to do it by example. But it is about the way we think. What are we saying to ourselves? It's like a meme is sitting in you, and a meme in its real sense, not necessarily what people tend to think now with sort of funny things that are going around the internet. A real meme is an idea that is almost like a virus that serves a collective or serves a philosophy or whatever it might be, but it's not necessarily true and it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. And so this is almost like you clear out those things because they create emotional blocks. So a meme might be, for instance, that you might deal with here. If some of this healing is to go towards love, if you had a meme that says, I have to wait till somebody chooses me so that I know I'm loved, as opposed to going and choosing who you want. And then, they may or may not respond, but if you're keeping yourself in the driver's seat when they do, it's going to be sort of something that really works for you. If you've got the meme that says, I have to be chosen, or society says that I have to wait to be asked out, or whatever it is, that's actually blocking you getting to your outcome. So it's just an example of that kind of energy. So you have the capacity to see this, understand it, and clear it out and bring it to the surface. So I say you'd be an amazing therapist, healer in those sort of ways, in any way really. But with this, if you were a conventional doctor or nurse or something like that, there would be a side of you in terms of your bedside manner that was actually the thing that really was the secret sauce, which was the magic. that people might not even know what that was, but it had a huge healing effect on others. So let's see how this ability, your magic, is affecting you in the day-to-day. Pile 3. The Devil reversed. The Magician is powerful. You're powerful with this. The Empress. Wow. Temperance reversed. So I'm going to say, I said actually in the second pile, because it was the Empress, the Judgment card came up in this line. And I said some of you may need to go to the third pile. Some of you, if you come to this one, might need to go to the second pile. Now, that's interesting given what's in the second pile. Adds a whole other layer to that if that's the case. And if you have come from the second pile, then this is kind of like almost a recipe within for you to be able to get ready for what the second pile is asking you to do. But for some of you, you don't have to. If you didn't feel drawn to it, don't. But if you were kind of umming and ahhing between the second and third pole and you came to the third pole, I would suggest maybe also watching the second pole. I don't normally say this, but I just think it's interesting, the correspondence that's come up. And it's come up in the line about how your magic impacts your day-to-day. That's why I'm kind of feeling, how is this magical energy impacting you? That's why I'm feeling that maybe seeing both might be useful if you felt drawn that way. But don't force it. If you didn't, it's not necessary. You very much, you're kind of an alchemist here. I think like the Magician here. The Magician, because you've got Temperance as well. You haven't fully realised how much you're an alchemist. You're kind of more in the theory, and this is sort of the mental sort of stuff, but you'll eventually find that you become the alchemist, because the Magician matures during the Major Arcana to the Temperance, which is like the alchemist. Right now, it's more in the theory and the design and all that kind of thing, and like kind of sorting out what's going on. But you are creating something, something new, and the healing and the sort of abundance and nurturing energy will combine eventually to make you the alchemist, the higher order of this, because that's what your calling is. But at the moment, it's not quite there yet, but that's okay, because you're still liberating yourself from all the programming and so forth that would block what you do. But you are naturally the alchemist, but you might be taking more of a scientific approach right now, but eventually the spiritual is really going to connect. And it's through some act of creation. So you're on a journey actually to your calling, and your calling is to be an alchemist, let's put it that way. Someone who marries the spiritual and the scientific to have a healing, transformative energy. Okay, so how therefore does the day-to-day at the moment and other people impact your magic? Queen of Swords reversed. Five of Pentacles reversed. Two of Cups. Two of Swords reversed. Okay. Because so much of this is about healing from what I would say are mind viruses, because that's what this feels like. The day-to-day work, or day-to-day life and other people is having an impact. And this is maybe why you've got to kind of like decide, have the right connections and decide what you want to create to get to the alchemist, to fully get to your calling. Because day to day, there are some people around you, particularly people who are more scientific or not spiritual, who can be very critical of that kind of thing, or critical of you if you want to break out of accepted ways of looking at things. Because if you want to free yourself in this way and free yourself from mind viruses, you might have to go against the sort of like consensus reality quite a bit, because you have this magical higher order way of looking at things. You may get critique, and that may be a little bit of a challenge for you, because you don't want to be alone, you want to be with others, and a lot of your healing requires you to be with others. You can't really be who you are if you're just on your own. This is not sort of something you can just go and decide, well, I'm going to be a Tibetan monk and sit and meditate all day. That's not going to be your calling. So you do need to connect to others, but some are not going to understand you. And sometimes you're just going to have to move forward without having all the information and bear the slings and arrows, so to speak, if necessary, because it's very, very important for you to be connected to others to do this. I find this such an interesting version of the Five of Pentacles, because it is the person outside the church, which is, the kind of classic Rider-Waite, but she looks so serene. So I feel like there's a kind of a serenity that comes for you in having the right connections. So that will also be a sustenance for you as well, and a healing energy for you, but not everybody's going to understand you, because what you're doing is magical and it's liberating, and people who like the status quo aren't going to like that. But we all face that if we're dealing with change or healing or anything like that. So if you're aware of it and you focus on the relationships that are good, don't worry too much about what other people are thinking or saying, because your work will speak for itself in the longer term, pile 3. So let's get you some spiritual support. So I'm going to start with luminous creatures, because I wanted to bring you animal support, but in a form that looks like magic. So I'm going to pause once I put them down and then go and check what they are, because sometimes I can't guess what the animals are and the way they're portrayed here. Hopefully that will be seamless for you. But so firstly we have that one. And I'm pretty sure I know what that one is because we had it in another reading. But anyway, and we have what is pretty obviously a frog. So this is the cheetah and this is the frog. And I think it's picking up this sort of energy, because there is going to be some people who like the status quo, or like to, like have their view and not anybody else's. They're not going to be really happy with this. But then there's a lot of people also that will come with you. These are both in their own way talking about giving you flexibility and adaptability and the capacity to keep moving and keep freeing the energy. The cheetah makes you be able to think very fast. So if you do come across this sort of like mind virus, the kind of the arguments that people come back with, you're able to deal with it like a really good person in a debate. When the other side has put forward some compelling but nevertheless specious arguments, you are able to see that and able to articulate very quickly where the flaw is. Because in a mind virus, as I say, or in a meme, it's not about truth. It's about how it serves a certain collective. And I think you'll be very good at showing that and showing where that is actually an unhealthy thing to do. So cheetah is helping you with that. The frog is also helping you to be flexible and adaptable and make the right connections. So there's a sense there. And also I think sometimes if we think about frogs or whatever, there is a beauty that you have that you kind of keep to yourself unless you absolutely need to show it. When we think about some of the fairy stories around frogs and kissing a frog and so forth. Could also be saying that for some of you, the kissing the frog, the fact that I've got that in my head might be that, for some of you, there's a very key love relationship that will also help you and watch over you and will be sent to you by your sort of spirit team. Okay, so let's also get you some celestial guidance as well, pile 3. St. Bridget, passion, fire, growth. So yeah, stay passionate about what you do, the fire, the celestial fire, the fire to burn out that which is not working. And that is also very alchemical. Like there will be a point, so I'm saying, I think you're on your way to being the alchemist. There will be a point at which everything is like fire, everything is burning out what is not true and not healthful and not going to take people towards their calling. So St. Bridget will help you with that. And Archangel Azrael, death and rebirth. So yeah, things that are changing, how you kind of revive, bring new life to things, go through the change that's necessary, finding out what your karmic mission is, all of that kind of thing. Archangel Raziel will help you with that. Let's also get a couple of astro oracle planet pairings to see a little bit more about what your magic is. Moon and Pluto. Yeah, this is the deep emotional, transformative, changing and healing. And it's your heart and your emotions calling you to that, your really transformative energy. You are meant to shift and transform things. Your healing is not coming across a bunch of symptoms and finding some things to relieve them. This is deep stuff to really clear the energy and free the energy for people. And Sun and Uranus, yeah, and your life path, your calling is towards change, breaking through, freeing things. So this could play out, as I say, in a very therapeutic sort of setting. It could also play out in a political setting, a social setting, relationships around you, could be anything. Sun and Moon too, I do think for some of you there's a very key relationship that will be part of this, that will help with your healing and maybe you'll heal them. And there'll be something that maybe you'll come from very different backgrounds and belief structures, and like you kind of almost decalcifying each other actually frees up both of you and becomes a bit of a template for how you do it more generally. So for some of you that's the case with the Sun Moon. And the Sun Moon again is alchemical, as I say. For some of you that's the alchemical marriage, that's becoming the alchemist. Okay, so let's get you some sort of more enchanted advice from the Enchanted Forest. Oh, this is interesting. This came up for one of the others. Behold beauty. When you insist that the world is hostile and others are your enemies, don't be surprised if that is so. Self-fulfilling prophecies fortunately work both ways. And yes, fortunately work both ways. Once you decalcify the mind virus, you find the true beauty. And the frog. There's something about the beauty within you and bringing the beauty within you out, I think, in this. You've kind of kept it a bit hidden. And no debate. You don't need to do anything to be more worthy. You are valuable regardless of your circumstances. You always have been and always will be. It's not up for debate. Now that's interesting because I actually think you're going to be good at debating people, but it's not about your worth. That's not up for debate. You will be clearly someone who's healthy and can do this. The debate should be on the issue. So if anybody tries to make it personal with that Queen of Swords reverse, somebody might go, no, it's not about me. This is about the issue. Let's stick to the issue. There's a thing that in conflict resolution, which is really important here and in debates, and it's sort of like, and they say things like play the bat and not the batter, using a sporting metaphor. It's like stick to the issue, don't make it personal. When somebody in a debate starts to throw insults at you or critique at you, they've gone into the realm of ad hominem and they've moved from the issue to a personal attack. You just go, no, we're not going to deal with that. We're not going to deal with that. Don't let anybody try and force yourself away from the beauty of what you're doing. But there will be some that might try those tactics. So being aware of that and knowing that and being clear on what you do is really, really important. Okay, so lastly, I'm just going to use the Mythical Creatures Oracle deck to see a mythical creature that might be the best representation on its most mythical level of your magic within the day-to-day. Oh, wow. Leviathan. Yeah, this is going back to the death and rebirth. Leviathan is the snake that swallows its own tail, the Ouroboros. It's things that need to be cleared. It's karmic energy clearing, but it is about rebirth. It's about like being able to heal and rebirth things and get people back onto their calling, their karmic calling. It says, remember you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health, choose happiness. Moving in that direction, using that kind of energy, you're clearing a lot of stuff. Like it's like a lot of calcified stuff and you're clearing it away for people's health, for society, for the political realm, for whatever it is. But that's a very powerful energy. This is like, it doesn't take any prisoners, basically, Leviathan. So like, this is like, you're able to do this. There's no doubt about that. And you can see where the mind viruses and the blockages are. And this is about clearing it. So that's a very powerful energy that you kind of personify with your Magic Pile 3. So I hope that you enjoyed the reading. I hope that it resonates for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.